The desert. Okay, the desert is a hard climate for animal adaptation because of the variations in the temperature. It requires physiological and anatomical special abilities from animals. From the beginning, we can see that with all that heat, water will be scarce, and animals need to keep a lot of time their water inside their bodies in order to survive those hard temperatures. Also, we can see that it's better to go out in the night because the sun is no longer in the sky, or at least not in a visible sky, so they have lower temperatures and higher humidity, which lets the mammals to go out of their hideouts and go to do some predation. Speaking about predation, visual predation is in a disadvantage because of the lack of light in the night, so they use different techniques.
The regions where rainfall is less than 25 centimeters per year, or places where there is more rain but it is not evenly distributed over the year, are generally classified as deserts. The lack of rain may be due to subtropical high pressure, as in the deserts of Sahara and Australia, positioned in the rain shadow as the deserts of western North America. High altitude as Tibetans in deserts and Gobi, Bolivia. Most deserts receive some rain during the year, or at least have a tidal cover unless soil conditions are particularly unfavorable substrate. Example, dunes. Apparently, the only places where it falls little or not rain are in the central Sahara and northern Chile. The color desert soils are variable but often are brown, gray, or yellowfish. They are usually highly calcareous, and saline may be due to the high rate of evaporation and lack of drainage, with continuous accumulation of salts like calcium carbonate, gypsum, and sodium chloride. The sand is a common substrate contributing to drying and rapidly raining scarce precipitation.
The vegetation of the desert typically consists of smooth, open, well-spaced, with numerous branches close to the ground and small, thick leaves. The space between the growths may be covered or not by grasses or other herbaceous plants. Shrubs and trees can grow well on the banks of water courses and even in the dry landslides. The diversity of species in the desert depends on rainfall and vegetation cover, with the least amount of plants and animal species in the dry desert. The Sonoran Desert is particularly rich in species with an impressive range of different plant associations. The dry desert virtually lack of living organisms in the same areas. No major vertebrate groups are restricted to the desert, but some groups are well represented and many widely distributed genera are species adapted to the desert.
Plant adaptations. The typical desert shrubs have small leaves and heavily covered with impermeable materials to prevent excessive loss of water, are greenish-gray to reflect sunlight and avoid overheating. The roots are shallow but extensive to take advantage of organic topsoil. There is strong competition between the roots, both within and between species, since the layer is very thin. There may be chemical competition between species, one producing substances to inhibit others. Some shrubs associated with watercourses have long main roots toward the phloem layer. Many species have leaves or very thick stems that can store water effectively. Some are incongruent during dry periods and and expands during wet periods, as they are very desirable by herbivores. Most succulent plants are protected by spines. A high portion of annual species are ephemeral, with seeds that are resistant to drought and long-lived, with fast germination, growth, flowering, and fruiting. There are many adaptations to tolerate high salinity, including salt excretory glands. A bromelide of epiphyte origin is located on sands of Atacama's desert, where it is the only plant species and absorbs the moisture of the mist through their leaves.